we looked at statistical inference and how you can generalize your results to the larger population. One of the important features of statistical inference is getting a random sample. So that random sample allows us to use the laws of probability to make inferences or claims about the larger population. Random samples are one way of obtaining a representative sample. Choosing a sample by chance or by random decreases bias by giving all individuals an equal chance to be chosen. This means that whatever your sampling method is, everybody needs to have the same probability of being chosen to be part of the sample. Choosing a sample by chance or by random helps prevent a couple of things. So one of those is favoritism by the researcher. So this would prevent a researcher from choosing their friends or choosing people who are going to give them the results that they want in their research. It also prevents self-selection by the participants. So if this is a subject that someone's really passionate about, like drunk driving, you may have a lot of people that are passionate about that volunteer to be part of your research, and that's going to skew your results. Okay. This is also why juries are chosen at random. So that gives you an impartial and unbiased group of people to evaluate the merits of the case, right? You wouldn't want friends of the victim or friends of the accused to be on that jury because that's really going to cause a lot of problems. Okay, so a random sample is an important idea that we see show up a lot in life, and it's an essential principle of statistical sampling. So I want you to take a look at your notes. You're going to see a list of kind of sampling strategies, and I want you to go through them and decide, is that random? Is it going to generate a representative sample, or is there a problem with it and what that problem might be? So go ahead and pause the video and give those a try. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at these. The first one is you want to know what the 7th grade students think of their science class. You poll 100 7th graders. 100 random 7th graders. So it has that word random in there. There's nothing in there that makes me think that there's something wonky about this, like they chose random 7th graders out of a certain school or from a certain teacher. So I would say, yeah, this one is pretty good. A hip hop radio station wants to know what type of music is the most popular. They ask their listeners to call in and select their favorite type of music. All right, my guess is most of the people calling in are going to say they like hip hop, hence the reason they're listening to that station. So this one is not going to give us a random or representative sample. You want to know which store shoppers at the mall visit the most. You ask each 10th person as they enter the mall which store they will visit. Okay, so asking each 10th person is a way of getting a random sample. We're going to talk about that in a future video. So that part's okay. And in general, this sounds pretty good. I would just have more questions before I could say this is a great sample. So my questions would be, well, what time were you at the mall? What days were you at the mall? Okay, do you have a different population on weekdays versus weekends? If you go in the early mornings, especially if it's a closed mall that has a lot of space for walking, you might see a lot of seniors. If you go around 10 or 11 a.m., you might see parents with little kids, especially malls that have playgrounds in them. It's a great place to take kids. 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you might see more teenagers, right? So depending on when you're there could make a difference. But from the information here, yeah, it's probably a pretty good job. And then you want to know which store shoppers at the mall visit the most. So you go to the toy store and survey 20 of their customers. Yeah, that's going to give you some problems there. All right, so come back in the next video and we'll finish up the rest of these.